Welcome to Monkey Talk, brought to you by
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Hey, we're here. Part two for tonight. Thanks everybody who stayed with us in the Twitch stream and everything. But tonight, Christopher, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm having a blast, having a good time. I'm here. I brought my extra long green shirt. As you can see, it actually drapes down below the screen. It kind of drapes. Hold on, let me go this way.
Right into our guest's backdrop. And let's talk about our guest. Hailing from Matlanta, Georgia. He's the mayor of Tyrone, Georgia. He's the boozerweight. He's the winner of Action's Cash versus Hair match in 2020. This man is 4-0, undefeated so far. We have Mr. Matt Sex Sells.
Hey,
Welcome, sir.
Yay. Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
That was quite the intro.
That was
Hey,
pretty damn good. Yeah.
I told you.
Can you just be my Ricardo Rodriguez and just follow me around everywhere? And like I walk into the bank or the grocery store or anything, you just give me that exact intro.
It would be my pleasure. It would be awesome.
So, Matt, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us night before a big show. We'll get to the show. We'll get to the big match.
You can see I'm training hard for the
You're
show.
training hard.
I like that they have the nice festive looking Pints Miller Lite now. I literally bought these just because they were the Christmas theme.
It's Christmas season still.
Oh,
We're still in Christmas season.
You brought the tree.
It's my office Christmas tree. Come on.
But we're all very excited to talk about Friday Night Fights, which is tomorrow, which we're very excited to watch. We're very excited for it to eventually be on IWTV, which have been the last few matches. You have a rematch coming up against Jaden Newman. We will get to that, like I said, but we have to start this interview off at the beginning, like we start all of our interviews off at. So what was young Matt Sells like?
Fairly similar to the character now. The character is me. I am the character. So what you see is what you get, minus the drinking. Of course, I actually didn't start drinking until I was 23.
Oh, wow.
See, which surprises a lot of people. I went to school at the University of Georgia, at party school, and didn't go out and party once. So yeah, I was a little bit different. But my love of comic books, my love of professional wrestling, my love of baseball, of cats, of everything that people see on my social media, that was me from the get-go. I was fat and nerdy, but now I'm just in slightly better shape and nerdy. So it was pretty much the exact same thing. You know, most people, you know, that get into wrestling, that love of entertainment and love of pro wrestling and love of sports, and it all melded together to who I am now.
Now, as we're growing up and we have all these different interests, comics, cats, sports, where does wrestling come in? When does that first kind of image of wrestling in a young childhood come up?
I like as a really young kid, because you always hear like the people like, I remember watching it when I was like 3 years old, and I didn't like it when I was really young. I was drawn more to comics and action movies and sports and stuff, and then it was when I was probably 9 or 10. The NWO got me into it. So it's like, oh, I know Hulk Hogan. He was the big good guy, and all of a sudden he's bad, and he's wearing black and white, and they're running rampant over WCW. Yeah, oh yeah, I want to watch this shit now. Like, I wanted to root for the Hills. I guess I was a Hill mark from an early age. So that got me into it, and so I was rocking the NWO shirt from there. And then by the time 13, 14 years old, when you should be talking to girls and trying to get dates. I don't know why I wasn't when I was doing my Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonation and literally wearing a different wrestling shirt every day that I didn't wear the same one for a month in high school. Like I just had a closet full of everything WWF. So definitely by the time, like I said, I was 13, 14, it was wrestling and nothing but wrestling.
Now, would you call yourself a fan of wrestling at that time, or was there any kind of inspiration to actually become a wrestler at that point?
So it was actually I started training right before my 16th birthday. So yeah, the seed was planted at that point. I read Mick Foley's first book, and for whatever reason, that was the inspiration. Because that book's horrific, or should be horrific, about all the trials and tribulations of making it, and then once you've made it, how horrible it still is. And something spoke to me. I was like, I want to do it. And so yeah, definitely. And like most kids that age, I was doing backyard wrestling, but I was very self-aware with what it was. We weren't doing stupid stunts. Even then, I knew to get the character work over instead of having to actually put in any effort.
It's about story. Story and character. The wrestling,
But
is
the character I had when I did backyard wrestling was that I had no character. I wanted to be like the Shooter. I wanted I was like Malenko, just the good wrestler. Which if you watch me now, it's like, what? That's
how far you've come.
But I was always drawn by the characters. Like I said, I read Mick Foley's book. I was a Mankind fan. I was a Chris Jericho fan. And Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and like obviously they're fantastic workers, but I was drawn to them because of the character work. And here I was like, oh no, I want to be serious.
Did you find yourself imitating a lot of those wrestlers too when you first thought
Yes,
about
I
doing
always
wrestling?
walked around and did the Chris Jericho voice. Like I said, I to this day people love to get a couple beers in me and do the Steve Austin voice. So yeah, like I said, yeah, Austin was the big one. I was constantly walking around doing the Austin voice, and here we are 20 some odd years later, and I'm still constantly walking around doing the Steve Austin voice. Look at you. Look at you. How Chuckles, huh? You think you're some kind of clown? Huh? What? Chuck, Captain, what? Like Crunch, what? Like it gets worse and worse the longer it goes to. It becomes like this parody of this parody of this parody. So, but yeah,
Parody.
and yeah, and you get me really drinking, and it's it's just me walking around giving people stunners doing Steve Austin impersonations.
Give Matt more to drink. Got it.
I'm not gonna argue with that. And like anybody else, I had a Hogan, I had a Macho Man. Like I think everybody that grows up a wrestling fan has those. In
Everybody's got the Macho
impressions.
Man.
Yeah, of course.
You have to.
Elizabeth.
So, past the backyard wrestling stuff that you were doing, when you actually decided to train, where did you start? How did that journey come about? And you said you started at 16?
Yeah, it was 2002. Which funny enough, I played high school sports. I played high school baseball, and I was not good at all.
What position?
I was an outfield. I was right field, usually hoping that they had no left-handed batters in the lineup. I was an okay hitter. I could hit a fastball, couldn't hit anything off speed. I couldn't field a ball to save my fucking life. So I was playing high school baseball, and funny enough, I was tired of the politics of high school sports. So I decided to get into professional wrestling because there's no politics there. So I was researching stuff online as a 15-year-old kid, and found that Dory Funk Jr. Actually ran a camp for teenagers to where he would train teens to be pro wrestlers. And so I was working a part-time job after school, and I remember saving up money and rolling coins and every way I could to pay for it. And actually, summer of 2002, my mom drove me down from Northeast Georgia to Ocala, Florida, to the Funkin' Conservatory, and I did a week down there and enjoyed it. The thing with going to Dory's school at that time, and I assume it's still this way, because it was really cool, because it was state of the art. You walk in, like, it's this nice venue, this incredible former WCW ring, you're bumping on crash pads to begin with, and all that stuff. So it's kind of a fantasy camp, even though you're getting the basics down. And so I continued to go down there for a couple more camps, and started going to the adult camps at 16 and 17 down there. And working some of the shows, even though I wasn't fully trained, and which was insane to think about now, to be working in front of a crowd and you're like, okay, I know like a hip toss, headlock takeover, arm drag, and that's it, and how to bump. So I was like, okay, I can't continue going down to camps down there. That's way too far away to make a trek. So I actually met a couple of guys from NWA Wildside when I was down there at Dory School that were working the shows. NWA Wildside was an hour away from my house. So I would
Nice.
drive there and go train 2, 3 nights a week and started paying my dues and going to the shows and doing security and all that stuff. So I trained under mostly Todd Sexton there, a little bit of Rick Michaels, and it kind of really cut my teeth there and made what I consider my official debut there in 2003.
Nice. Now, I normally ask, what was the first bump like? But I think I want to know, did you have a oh shit moment? Like when someone hit you with a move and you were like, oh shit, I don't know if this is for
my
me.
oh shit moment was much less than that because I'm not naturally athletically gifted. Like the first bump was fine. Like it knocks the wind out of you, of course, as everybody always says, and it sucks. And hitting the ropes was probably the worst part because you always hear people you still cable, you have those nice bruises, just don't go away for weeks and weeks. But my oh shit moment was I couldn't do a fucking forward roll. Like it's like, how are you gonna make it as a wrestler if you can't do it? So it was just this block in my head. Like I could not forward roll, and I thought it was gonna take me for fucking ever to finally do it. So that was my ocean. I was like, I don't know how to get past this. It's like chop me, drop me on my head. I can be some kind of garbage wrestler as long as I don't have to forward roll. Like. But I eventually figured it out, whatever it was, whatever that mental block was.
Good, yeah, good.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like,
I was gonna say,
you're like,
you're like, I think I've probably seen you do something similar to a forward roll in a match.
He just tripped over himself. That's
yeah,
all,
exactly.
that's all.
Yeah.
You mentioned a bunch of the trainers that you trained under and everything. Does one of them stand out as the one who really taught you that you got that you felt that you got the most from?
I mean, I got different things from different people, but actually where I really started to get it, which is insane to think that I've been wrestling 18 years and I didn't think I was really like getting it until like 12, 13 years in, but I can be a slow learner at times. When I moved to Philly and trained in the Ring of Honor dojo and trained with Delirious there and learned a lot from him. That learning kind of a different style than what I was accustomed to, obviously doing the Southern kind of character-based bullshit that I do and being able to meld that with that Ring of Honor Northeast style. So learning from him, learning from Will Ferrara, from Cheeseburger, who's a savant. The world will never know how damn good that guy is and how damn good he was like a year in. Because he doesn't get to show the world a lot because it's not consistent with the character. But he can watch one drill and then teach it to the whole world. He's fantastic. Rhett Titus, I mean, all the guys that kind of mentored me there. Kevin Kelly helped a lot with promos and character work. Bob Evans, Brutal Bob, it changed my mindset about a lot of stuff. So, like I said, like I can give a lot of credit to Dory Funk and give a lot of credit to Todd Sexton, those guys, because they built the foundation. But for what you see now and really learning how to work and how to work the character that I do, it really 6-7 years ago, which is insane. I wish I'd gotten that earlier on when my body wasn't as broken down from starting to wrestle at 16 years old.
Well, we are on the eve of another action show, Friday Night Fights, number 3. You got a big match coming up. Like I said in the intro of bringing you in, so far in 2020, you are undefeated. You're 4-0. You're on what some people call a winning streak. You have a rematch.
Yeah, it's great. It's great because it's been a winning record, not just in action, but in all of pro wrestling for me. And this crazy year.
That is true.
But yeah, that unmatched winning streak in action, and obviously winning last event against Jaden Newman via ref stoppage, which is the first time I've ever won a match in 18 years via ref stoppage. So
now, I watched the show. Christopher was at the show. We all saw that a match took place. Mr. Newman doesn't think a match took place, which, I mean, hey, if you get hit in the head that many times into the mat, I mean, it's got to hurt a little bit. But
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, I would invite you to go and go to IWTV, to Indie Wrestling TV, and check the Friday Night Fights out, because you will have never seen this finish happen in the history of professional wrestling, and you never will again. Because I believe it's the first time that an individual's ever been humped unconscious. So
I
do
think
what I
Christopher
do.
and I said the same thing when we were talking before you came on.
Hump to submission.
Yes, but now we have the rematch, or as Jaden says, the first match. But what do you have in store for him in the rematch?
I can't give away all my tips and tricks, right? That's
Just a little glimpse.
Many forward rolls.
I mean,
Lots of
obviously,
forward rolls.
obviously, I've been working on hip mobility, and plenty of squats. So that way there's plenty of glute involvement there that I can thrust and as I bounce my balls off the back of his head and drive his head to the mat. That's
Do you expect another
is
sobriety
that the first
test?
time that's ever been said on your show?
Yes.
I take pride in being like an abnormality.
Do you expect another sobriety test before the match? As Jaden tried to make you do last time.
If he wants to do that, if he wants to draw blood, or I'll take a urine test. Like,
It's going to be the touch your finger to your nose test this time.
as long as it's not saying my alphabet backwards, because I can't do that sober.
Exactly. If you can do that sober and you can do it drunk, you're Superman.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, what human being can do that? Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're on this amazing streak. It's obviously been the year of Matt Sells. 2020 has been a great year for you.
What a year for it to be my year, right?
What a year to get.
I don't
Like,
think there's a more apropos thing, and I've said it, and I did the episodes of It's Never Sunny in Atlanta about it, but like me winning a match caused the apocalypse. Like, here we go. So as long as I keep winning, we are screwed as a world and society. So sorry.
Oh well.
So with that, what does the future hold? What does 2021 hold for Matt Sells, other than more apocalypse?
Hopefully not, because I hope it's a good year next year, and there's actually people that get to see it, more than 35 people and more than socially distanced crowds, and it's hard to drink beer wearing a mask. But 2021's going to be a great year, because I mean, Action's going to continue going strong, because they've built such a following, and of course within that following, I've built a cult-like following there that just kind of just happened out of nowhere. Like, I was very impressed when you start seeing kids show up dressed as Matt's XLs, doing the strut and follow, and it's great because when we get back to normal and I'm the fucking Pied Piper, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, they're all following me around. And then there's all kinds of other stuff on board for 2021. January 2nd next year, actually running the second annual Boozerweight Classic, where Livewire Wrestling runs a show at 5 p.m. and then at 7:30 p.m. the Boozerweight Classic happens, where it's legit my bullshit. And the one that we did this year on January 4th this year, so Wrestle Kingdom was actually the second biggest wrestling show on January 4th this year. It was insane, and it was fantastic. And the main event was me and Tommy Dreamer against the Gymnastic Boys, and we had a fantastic time. I dropped the match, first round match announcements today for the January 2nd show. Headlines in the tournament with the vegetables versus fruit match, where it's cauliflower Chase Brown versus Shug D, aka Pineapple Pete. And in the main event of the show, of course, if you book the show, you got to book yourself against the name. And the main event is me defending the Livewire Wrestling Championship against the Zombie Princess Jimmy Jacobs, which it's a bucket list match for me. So. And then if the rest of the year continues like it's going to start on January 2nd, I think that gives you a good idea of how 2021 is going to go for the Boozerweight.
What's an amazing future that's coming around the corner, it seems like, was a difficult past of getting to this point. Like, you have to be a motivated person. You know, we joke and talk about, you know, the character and how you act, and it is you, but motivation has to be something that you constantly have, because you've been in the industry for a little while, you've been pushing yourself. What is that piece? What is the piece of motivation that keeps you going?
I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I always tell people I'm goal-oriented, sometimes almost to my own detriment. But that's what keeps me going. You know, you build those long-term goals and then you base those short-term goals off of that. And you like to believe that motivation just comes out of nowhere and you're just motivated, but it's based off that goal setting. And like I said, my short-term goal right now with wrestling, you know, you build it off the long term. The long-term goal is the same as the short term right now. I just want to have fun, because you start driving yourself nuts after a while and you want to make it, and you know, I'm going to do this and do that. But I always think back, I'm like, if I were able to talk to like 12, 13-year-old me, and you know, it's easy to get frustrated as an adult. I'm like, I haven't signed a contract here, you know, didn't pan out at this company and this company, and it was this close, you know, whatever. But if I, you know, talk to 12, 13-year-old me and I was like, hey, I've worked for TV wrestling companies, you have people buying your merch, you know, you're in charge of your character and this is who you are now. That's pretty badass. And that motivates me a lot to know that, you know, 20 years ago, this is exactly what I wanted. Not a bad thing, you know, to be able to step back and go, I'm in a pretty good place.
It's cool that you were able to get to that point. I know it's a struggle for some people to kind of get to that at peace point where it's like, no, I'm happy with what I've done. I'm happy with where I'm at, and I'm happy with what the future holds.
And yeah, and it's this happy medium to where, yeah, you're happy with it, but you're not complacent, because you want to drive a little bit more, and that drives your creativity, and you want to do this and you want to do that. But like, if stuff becomes unobtainable, then it becomes so frustrating as well. So it's a struggle. I do a good job of putting on the happy face public persona, I know, but yeah, just like everybody else, and especially any entertainer and professional wrestler, there's struggles there. But yeah, I'd love to be able to, yeah, like I said, tell kid me that this is it. This is pretty awesome.
So obviously, beer is in your hobbies. Obviously, you talked about your cats. You do some of your tweets and some of the skits you do or promos you do. What other kind of hobbies do you have? What are you interested in that isn't involving being in the ring?
I have a lot of interest outside of wrestling, which one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard anybody give was actually Maria Kanellis at a Ring of Honor tryout camp. That she said, you've got to have interest outside of pro wrestling or you'll drive yourself nuts, because you get so many guys that, you know, pro wrestling is my passion and this is all I do. But my interest outside of wrestling a lot of times are inspiration for wrestling. But huge comic book fan, huge Batman fan. Anybody that's ever seen my ink, it's all Batman the Animated Series stuff, essentially. Huge metalhead with my crew and Metallica right there. I love going to concerts, anything from badass metal shows to shitty mainstream rock and new metal. I'm a diehard Nickelback fan, and I love that because people roll their eyes, and I take I take pride in
Two
that.
in one night.
Damn.
So yeah, you get that reaction, and that's perfect. So if it's any variation of rock I enjoy, so go out, have a couple beers, and go to a concert I love. Anybody that follows me on social media knows when you can attend sporting events, I'm at so many Braves games. I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan, grew up an Atlanta sports fan. So I got used to losing pretty quick. I came to grips with failure as a child pretty early on, and just to hanging out and just having a good time. I love action movies and video games. I always feel like I was so much better at video games when I was a kid. I don't know if they got more difficult or if I got worse at them, but I'm a huge Madden fan. Huge MLB The Show, of course, and then kind of sprinkle some other stuff in there, some action adventure stuff that makes me want to throw my controller at the TV.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
I've never broken one, and I love my TV because I bought a nice TV last year, and I was like, there's been times where I get frustrated, like, no, we're not doing this.
I couldn't do it and break the TV. I would just break the controller. I would just literally take the wired
$60
controller.
Is a little bit better, yeah. There have been times where I've thought about. I'm like, come on, like let's step away from the situation.
I wish I had that inner dialogue before
That's really new for me. You're talking to a little bit more Zen Matt Sells right now. Because no, my natural state's very much of just wanting to scream and rant and rave and.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times against Mr. Christopher here in some of the older Madden games where I just
Kingdom of Cardle.
Shut
I
up.
was so damn good at that game as a kid, and now like even on like all pro mode against the computer, I'm okay. But like I'm playing in an online league, and I'm legit like fucking like 3-8 or something. Come on.
The game's got harder.
Oh, big time.
The game's got harder.
Like and like I used to be really good at passing, and now I throw like 6 picks a game. Like, it's just a matter of, and I can't play defense for shit. I don't know what happened with that.
I can never do that. Ay. Freaking Madden. I hate it. Never
Oh,
played
we
it.
can just do a whole podcast on Madden and how frustrating it is.
Oh, yes.
And then and I'm an insane person too, because I buy MLB The Show every year because like I said, big diehard baseball fan. And then I have to play a franchise mode. I have to play every single pitch of a 162 game season and the playoffs and the All-Star game and the home run derby on top of playing online games. Yeah, it's, and then I'm like, what do I do in my free time? You ask what my hobbies are, MLB The Show.
There it was.
Season, that's it.
There it is. Well, you mentioned, we talked about the career drive that you had before. Now we're going to talk about actual driving. So,
Well, not drinking.
and not drinking.
Never.
No drinking and driving.
I'm responsible with that.
So, road stories. Going to
Okay.
shows,
So
coming
they
back
can't
from
involve
shows.
alcohol, so I don't know if I can give any stories.
As Val said to Riley in the first interview, you can change people's names, but give us some funny road stories, some traveling stories that you've picked up over the years.
I mean, you do stuff to kind of entertain yourself on the road. God, I'm trying to think. So all right, so on the road I was living in Philly, and so we were in Nashville for Schming of Schmoner when I was working for them. So we were gonna, we had a show the following night. NXT was actually in town that night. And so we had an off night. I worked on Ring Crew, and so we set up the building. We were working at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium, which is a humongous venue, which is very historic for wrestling in that town. So of course, like, we're in Nashville. Nashville's a fun party town. So we're gonna go out for a little bit, and the Ring Crew is gonna go help flyer at the NXT show afterwards. All right, cool, whatever. I can go have a couple of drinks and be fine to do that. So we are, out drinking, and I'm drank with a couple of people, and I'm drink, and then end up in a bar, and I'm doing shots of Jaeger with ODB, and like, it's just like every person I can go up to and continue to drink, and it's, yeah. So Mitch is like, oh, hey Matt, we got to go, and we're gonna flyer. Okay, cool. And so I'm like, I have a couple more drinks, and then go to flyer, and so I am just so lit at this point that they're calling me, the couple of other guys that I'm going to flyer with, and I can't walk and talk on the phone at the same time. I'm that drunk. So I sit down in the middle of the sidewalk, and I think that I'm eloquently speaking. And, hey, guys, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm almost there. But apparently it was coming out. And so they were like, Matt, do not come and represent this company in that state you're in. Do not. You stay right there. And somehow I managed to call an Uber, get back to the hotel, shower, and go to sleep. And I have no recollection of how it happened.
Skill.
But yeah, skill.
My other favorite road story actually is another Ring of Honor one. Idle hands are the tool of the devil. If I have downtime in a town and I don't have anything else to do, it's not going to end well because I'm going to go out drinking. So hopefully he doesn't mind me name dropping him for this story. But Cheeseburger, again, savant in wrestling, so I'll put him over before this story. So I wanted to go out. It was a Monday night outside of Detroit, in Dearborn, Michigan. And I wanted to go out and have a drink and go to the strip club, because why not? Because why wouldn't you on a Monday night? And nobody else wanted to go except Cheeseburger. He's like, yeah, I'll go with you. So we go to this shitty little strip club. There's literally 2 strippers working, and me and Cheeseburger are the only patrons.
It's a good ratio. Good ratio.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to talking to the girls, and they're like, look, we're not even going to bother hustling you for money. Like, we're so bored. We're like, if you will just stay here and hang out with us to close and just talk, like, we're not going to bother you. And so we did that. So we closed down the strip club, just hanging out with 2 strippers.
Oh, wow. See, Christopher, again, this goes back to the coffee table book of road stories from wrestlers. No names, just stories.
I've got some better ones that I would not want to share. Like most
Offline.
wrestlers, you know, like yeah,
Offline.
just involves all kinds of nefarious tactics.
We're gonna work on this coffee table book. This is
I'm
a really
telling
good
you.
idea.
Oh, it's a bestseller.
All right. So, speaking of things that are good, speaking of things that we like, you gave me some ideas through our conversation. We'd like to touch on some favorites. So, you mentioned you're a big baseball fan. You mentioned you're a big Braves fan. I won't hold it against you being a big Mets fan because I have also experienced many years of sadness due to the Braves.
Yep. Dude, a chipper.
Yeah. Let's not talk about Larry on this podcast. What I want to know is, being a big sports fan, what is your favorite sports moment that you remember? What is the moment?
95 World Series. I remember vividly being a kid and sitting there on the couch with my mom, and the final catch for Marquise Grissom for them to clinch the World Series, and I remember jumping up and down and screaming. The favorite live one would be I actually got to attend Game 1 of the '99 World Series. The World Series where the Braves got swept by the Yankees in 4 games. So my mom ended up buying tickets for me and a family friend, and he took me when I was 13. Geez. And we had tickets that were in the very, very, very tip top of Turner Field. Like we were literally the last row. And it all of a sudden turned unseasonably cold in October in Atlanta. So I was literally in shorts and a t-shirt. So just frigidly sitting there watching the Braves get beat 3-0 in the Game 1 of the series they're going to get swept. But still, it's obviously a really good memory, as I can vividly remember it now. So
you were there. That's the important part, right?
And I said this year, like if they had made it to the World Series and they were allowing a select number of people to get in Texas, I would have probably driven myself into debt, like to go and see however many games,
So you mentioned you're a big comic book fan. I know you said Batman as your favorite comic book, but do you have a favorite Batman villain? I know you got some tattoos on there, but is there one specific villain that stands out?
I'm gonna be as cliched as possible in Joker.
Okay.
Yeah, I think anybody's gonna say Joker, and specifically that version of the Joker, the Mark Hamill voiced animated series, because I thought it was a good middle ground. It's not super cartoony, but it's not Alan Moore homicidal maniac too. Which that's a character I've always liked with the different interpretations. Like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker for that solo movie was fantastic, but it's obviously different than Cesar Romero or Jack Nicholson or whomever, Heath Ledger. So yeah, definitely the Joker. Two-Face is probably a close second, obviously.
just an excuse to go like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I love Harley Quinn, and like if we're going, Poison Ivy,
I love that. I love one of these.
yeah, we can just just an excuse to flex. That's all. All this is just hey, working out. That's so I'm like combination Jim Douchey and nerdy at the same time. So
we're all nerdy for something. I think that's what people need to realize. Like we all call ourselves nerds for some reason.
And like my problem is though, like I'm not, and I don't feel like I'm enough into any one subject to be super nerdy. Or I guess geeky would probably be the correct term with that. Like I like comic books, but like I can tell you everything about Batman, and that's about it. Like I'm into everything, but like the deep dive of knowing stuff from 60 years ago, this was his one appearance in the Avengers. What like I can name the characters in the mainstream movies, and I'm into the mainstream books and stuff. And there's a few like cult things I'm into with that, and it's like the same with sports and wrestling and everything. Like I don't feel like I'm nerdy enough. I'm just nerdy enough with everything.
That's good, just enough, just dip of the toe in everything.
Just enough that unlike we're 12-year-old Matt, like girls would actually talk to me now.
There you go. That's a plus. So music was also something you mentioned. We usually like to find out if anybody has a favorite maybe live music show they've ever been to, or a favorite live music event they've ever gotten to go to.
Anytime I've seen Motley Crue is my all-time favorite band. Motley Crue is friggin' amazing live, even with Vince Neil's awful blown-out vocals now. The theatrics they're covered up. Steel Panther, I think
Oh,
by far, I've seen them 6 times now. Because it's a variety show. You're not going
it
just
is.
to go see music. Like you're going and you're going to see, them. They're fantastic musical performers on top of the fact that it's a fun comedy show. On top of the fact they're going to pull hot chicks on the stage and like it's just everything you want out of a good night of like a hair metal parody band. And yeah, I think Steel Panther's right up there. Seeing Metallica live was great. God, I can just name off so many concerts I've enjoyed thoroughly. I saw Slayer twice when they were still together. Yeah, Slayer was always fantastic.
Always.
Yeah.
I got to see Slayer on the last tour that they came through when they came through Pennsylvania. I saw them up
John,
at Hershey Park.
I saw that on the same tour in Atlanta. I saw Tool earlier this year, like back before the world shut down, and getting to see that because I saw a Perfect Circle a few years ago, and so like I'm a big Maynard James Keenan fan. So I was like, okay, Perfect Circle is awesome. Tool was I always tell people was very close to almost a religious experience. Because
Hmm.
anything Maynard does, he makes sure the crowd can't have their cell phone out, which is amazing. So like you're actually like tuned into it the whole time. You're not fucking around because it's so easy to do. Like even if you're really into something, you're fucking around on your phone now. So to actually have to be in the moment for 2 hours is awesome. And actually,
Yeah.
I saw people at a Perfect Circle show actually get thrown out for getting on their phones. Like,
Really?
don't fuck around. Oh
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 wow.
yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a guilty pleasure as far as music goes that somebody like wouldn't really think of when they think of Matt Sells?
So Dave Grohl had a quote a couple of years ago on Mark Maron's podcast that I kind of subscribe to that there's really no guilty pleasure when it comes to anything like what you like. But with that said, I love like mine gets really crazy if I'm on long late night drives. Coming back from wrestling shows, if either you have people in the car that have fallen asleep, or I'm driving by myself. So it starts out, and it's Metallica, Motley Crue, Nickelback, all that, and so then it gets to where it's harder and harder to like Norwegian death metal to stuff that's still fitting in my motif, and then eventually I'm so tired, you're like, it's got to be stuff I can sing along to. So that's when the boy bands come out. That's when Britney Spears comes out. So the guilty pleasures this year, specifically in 2020, I was actually tweeting about this the other day. Miley Cyrus and Machine Gun Kelly put out rock albums this year, and I thoroughly enjoy both of them. Miley Cyrus just released hers. I think it was either earlier this week or last week, and I was listening to it at the gym 2 days ago. Amazing. It's like an 80s pop rock album. I love it. Like she's got a duet with Billy Idol and a duet with Joan Jett. And it's like I feel like I shouldn't like this, but I do. And the same with Machine Gun Kelly's album. Like I can't name one Machine Gun Kelly song other than like the stuff that's on that album. He did a pop punk album, and like it sounds like early like Blink 182. And I was like, okay, this year's even weirder now because of the two of my favorite albums and not artists I would ever listen to. So
It's a year to be weird. It's okay.
yeah, and I'm okay with that. If we're going like the consistent weird friggin' just guilty pleasure, Toxic by Britney Spears. I will sing along like a motherfucker to that song anytime I hear it. It's just so catchy.
Chuck, what you got? I know you always come up with a good favorite.
Well,
Let's do the guests.
before we segue away from music, since you mentioned Steel Panther, did you happen to see the redo of their own song called "Fuck 2020"?
No.
Okay, I tweeted this
I'm
out.
going on YouTube as soon as we're done.
I tweeted this out the other day when I saw it. I always get updates from like all the metal like websites, and they give you all the news things. And I
Right.
saw it and I was like, ooh. So they had a song on their new album, and they
fuck everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
and they took that and they turned it into "Fuck 2020"
Oh
and
shit. Yeah.
changed
As
the lyrics
soon as we're
around.
done, I know what I'm doing.
It was spectacular. Anybody out there that's watching, listening, whenever you see this, please go check it out because it is hilarious. And you have to,
You sold me.
you have to if you watch it on YouTube, you can click under and it'll actually give you the lyrics, so you can see what some of the lyrics are for it. It is spectacular.
Oh, it's fuck. All right, yeah, I'm sold.
Okay, so let's see. We had so you're a drinker. We know that.
No,
You
no,
love
not
that.
at all. It's water. It's all a gimmick.
What's the go-to for you?
Miller Lite. I've been angling for a sponsorship with them forever, and not like the sponsor I probably need from AA, but a sponsorship from Miller Lite. I'm a fan of. I'm trying to get sponsored by them, so I don't want to say it, but shitty light beer. So like I like Miller Lite, I like Michelob Ultra, I like Corona Premier. That's how you keep this physique, is going light beer. I can't do like shots. I have a friend who actually is contracted under with a TV wrestling company now, so I probably shouldn't name drop him. But like he always wants to do shots if we go out. And I'm like, I don't do shots, I don't do shots. So they end up doing shots. And the last time we did that, it ended up with us in the back of an Uber after a Braves game at 3 a.m. in a Taco Bell drive-thru, challenging people to a fight in the drive-thru because they were being assholes, and then the Uber driver like cheering us on. So that's why I don't do shots. On top of the fact that it just make me queasy. But yeah, Miller Lite or other shitty light beer. My goal. Don't ever invite me to a wedding because my goal at any wedding is to see how many drinks I can have during the reception.
Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah. So I have a record. I don't even know if I should put that number out there.
You can tell us when we go back to the green room after. You know,
because it sounds problematic.
okay.
But like I love, if I'm gonna do liquor, like I do vodka and like give me a good Moscow Mule or a vodka and Coke Zero.
Mm.
I think I'm actually addicted to lime juice more than I am alcohol. Like I like just
Yeah.
sticking lime and everything. So just water and lime. That's what's in here right now. I promise.
Motley Crue, favorite Crue song.
The one I use for my entrance music, Wild Side.
Love it. Let's switch to the other one. Metallica, favorite Metallica song.
Oh, so that's harder for me. Ooh. That's difficult. I'm gonna say probably Master of Puppets because it's my favorite Metallica album. Either Master of Puppets or Battery.
Nice. Good answers for me.
Good
answers for me.
And then Motley Crue, my favorite lyric that I always tell people is kind of my mantra is from Primal Scream. If you want to live life on your own terms, you got to be willing to crash and burn. And I always feel like that's an appropriate thing to remember. Like, you know, stuff's not always going to work out, but if you're living the way you want to live, sometimes that happens. So
yeah. Did you see the Dirt movie on?
I
think it was
did,
on
and
Netflix.
I fucking loved it. The book's amazing. I don't know if you've ever read the book. Anybody that hasn't read the book, I would wholeheartedly recommend it. It's been one of those books I've read over and over because it's just fucked up debauchery that you would figure is Motley Crue. I thought the movie did a really good job of condensing down a 30-year history that was put in a 400-page book into a 90-minute movie, you know,
Yeah.
like, and it kept the right tone where it was funny through a lot of it, and it did serious parts right. And I thought every actor did a pretty good job with the portrayals. So yeah, I've actually been telling myself the last couple of weeks I need to go back and rewatch it, but I'm in a Christmas movie watching phase now, of course. So
Yes.
nothing says Christmas like, you know, sex, drugs, and Motley Crue. So
Yeah, true. I was happy this year. I actually got to catch my favorite Christmas show, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as it was live on. Well, not live,
oh, fantastic!
as it was on TV. Because last year I completely missed it.
I haven't had a chance to see it in a couple of years. It and Frosty, like I just haven't. I was watching actually before we started doing this. I was watching the first like 45 minutes of Home Alone, which I have not seen since I was a kid. For whatever reason, I was like, oh, Disney Plus, and I seriously have Disney Plus just for The Mandalorian and The Simpsons. Like, but I was like, oh, Home Alone's on here. I'll throw Home Alone on. In the first 10 minutes, that movie almost gave me a panic attack where the kids are running around. I'm like, this is awful. This is what hell is. Like, no. Like, and like Kevin's a little snitch. Like right at the beginning, he was like, he deserves to get murdered by the bandits. Like, my view of this movie is completely skewed now as an adult.
Oh man. Do you like The Mandalorian?
I love The Mandalorian. God, I just watched last week's episode a couple of days ago, and God, it feels more Star Wars than anything they've put out since the originals. Like it has
Yes.
that vibe to it. I love that most of the episodes are short.
Yep.
Because like most people now have a short attention span, so you throw something out there for 35 minutes, a little kind of space western, just here it is. Here's this individual story for this week. I love it. It's so well done.
I'm sad that it's coming to the end of the second season already.
Yeah,
Like
I was
it
thinking
feels like it
about that the
literally
other day.
just started.
Yeah. Like I kind of want John Favreau to take over like any property I loved as a kid and see what he can do with it now, because
Yes.
he does a good job with everything he's in charge of.
Agreed.
Agreed.
That's all I got, Christopher.
All right. Well, I got one more before the big one, but I have to switch it up because Matt took our question.
I know,
from us
right?
Earlier in the day. So Matt already talked.
Well, no.
So-
He talked to his 12 or 13-year-old self.
Well,
So
I'm
That's like
not,
10-year-old now.
I'm not doing that.
10-year-old went through some shit, man.
I'm
I'm
not
a
doing
completely different thing.
We're going to take that for your answer for that one, and we're going to switch things up a little bit. Something we've never done on this podcast. We're going to let Matt Sells talk to his retired from wrestling 65-year-old self.
Oh.
And
So
Matt Sells,
are you saying I don't retire from wrestling until 65? That sounds awful.
well,
I shuffle around now, and now you're like, you got 30 more years in you. Like, you're in the prime of your career, kid.
what are you going to tell retired Matt Sells, retired old family man, whatever you picture yourself to be at 65 years old?
So
what
it's
do
going
you
to be
tell?
talking literally to me, just older, because like I always tell people I'm Peter Pan. Like I spend my weekends in spandex, and I'm never going to grow up. So 65-year-old me is me. I'm going to say sorry about the liver. I should have taken better care of it. I should have probably not taken those chair shots. I think you're doing okay now, cognitively speaking. I'm sure you're looking forward to Star Wars Episode 144, or whatever's out now. Can't wait to see it with you. Sorry about the dexterity and lack of hand-eye coordination, so you can't play the PS12. Yeah, maybe some of those tattoos were poor choices when you're aged to 65. Joker's looking a little rough. Sorry about that. Harley's a little saggy now, so no, I tell him like, like I hope it was worth it. I hope you enjoyed the ride, because I know I'm enjoying the ride right now, and I like to believe at 65 will have enjoyed the ride as well. And anybody that knows me, in case you can't tell right here, my favorite subject's myself. I love talking about myself, so I hope the 65-year-old me still continues to do that. And then he continues to do what I've really been working on doing a lot lately, and that's here's a serious answer. Continue to help out people in any form or fashion, especially in wrestling. Like I know that there are people out there that have a skill set different than mine. So if I can impart some wisdom on them, and it's what helps them make it, then that's my legacy in wrestling. You hear a lot of people say it, and I've finally started kind of believing it. As I want to leave wrestling better than it was when I found it. And so to be able to help out the other people, I think 34-year-old me is doing that. And I hope 65-year-old me continues to do that as well. So, rare, serious answer from me. All right, let's go back. Ask me something fucking funny now. I don't like
Okay.
that. I feel uncomfortable.
I got it. So before we get to the final question, I got two things. One is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Oh, fuck yeah. That movie exists because of Christmas. John McClane wouldn't have been there in that office building if it had not been Christmas. End of story.
Exactly.
Truth.
Exactly. Now,
And Now I Got a Machine Gun, Ho 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 is
Yes.
like the greatest Christmas movie line ever.
so also happening tomorrow night at Action, there's a big championship match. Unfortunately, you're not in this one yet. We have AC Mack going up against Eric Royal. You have been in the ring with both of these gentlemen.
Actually, I've never wrestled AC Mack.
Not. Oh well. Okay, so I take that back. Not one on
Have I?
one.
Because
But you
guys
guys.
get hit in the head a lot. Maybe I have. Please,
You've been in like battle royal scramble matches together, so you might not have been in the ring at the same time. So I apologize for that.
No, you've got me really thinking now. I'm like, I think we may have been like in rumbles and stuff, and never, yeah.
So, who do you think is going to come out on top in that match? And are you going to, Mr. Matt, head of action, are you going to ask for a title shot?
Well, let's see. If Eric Royal wins, I have a pinfall victory against Eric Royal. How did Eric Royal get a title shot before I did? So if Eric Royal wins, absolutely, I should be the first in line for a title shot. If AC Mack wins, he beat a guy who I beat, so clearly we're on the same level. So I'm going to ask Matt for an action title shot. So yeah, I think whoever comes out, a guy who after tomorrow night is going to be on a 5-match winning streak in action wrestling, kind of deserves a title shot. You know, are we doing rankings a la AEW? Because I think I have to be there. Like I know Matt Griffin's not as much of a numbers guy as Tony Khan, but like he has to be crunching those numbers somewhere, and like you have to see that like Matt Sells is right there. So
I agree.
I'm going AC Mack.
Okay.
But either way, I need a title shot, and just because I think AC Mack and I would be a fun matchup as well, and I've already beat Eric, so be fun to add another one to the list when I beat AC Mack.
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
think I'm supposed to lick my hands in a pandemic. That was probably bad, but I watched them before. Alcohol kills germs, right?
If you watched them before,
maybe not light beer, but yeah,
6 feet apart.
yeah. This is literally just water. I have to get soap now. Yeah,
there you go. Wash
I
it.
get hydrated before matches. It's light beer.
So here we are. We're all the way. We made it to the final question. It's an important one for some people out there. This podcast, it's been highly debated. Christopher and I don't know why it's been debated. I mean, for us, the answer to the question is easy. But Matt, are you on team single stuff Oreo or team double stuff Oreo?
Well, obviously, as the rock and roll model, I believe in excess. If a little bit of something is good, then a lot of bit of something is very good. So double stuff in a heartbeat. And now you're gonna really want Oreo. So like I said, I was a fat kid. Like I was a fat kid. Wrestling actually inspired me to lose a bunch of weight because I knew that I was not in shape to do it. So I actually lost 75 pounds as a teenager when I started training. But no, so I used to sit down and every Monday night watching Raw, it was a big ass glass of milk and literally at least half a pack of Oreos, just dunking Oreos and going, one day I'll be built like Triple H. Like, that's how this works, right? And I've never dunked an Oreo in beer, but I feel like we should probably try that. Oh God, Oreos are amazing.
They are.
You got me thinking now if like we could get like some. Okay, no, never.
No. No.
We don't want to get sidetracked.
No, you get some rum chata or something, and do or a White Russian and dunk.
Oh, okay. I don't normally dunk my Oreos in anything, but White Russian, I might have to.
Right? Oreo. It's the Big Lebowski Oreo dunk. There you go.
That's excellent. Matt, we've had a blast. We've had a really good time tonight. We're very excited to have you on the show. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Looking forward to when it airs on IWTV. Where can everybody find you out there on the social media?
Go ahead and follow at All Cells Final, ALLSELLSFINAL. That's my Twitter and my Instagram handle. My Instagram's mostly just pictures of beer. I'm more cerebral, so I prefer the written word. I'm the older end of millennial, so I'm not as good as taking pictures. Go to facebook.com/rock and roll model, ROCKN ROLLMODEL. L. Hey, how about that for drinking, being able to spell?
Look at this spelling.
I know, right?
Go there. That's my Facebook fan page. Give that a like. And then be sure to follow me around everywhere I go. Tomorrow night, obviously, Action Wrestling, Friday Night Fights, Bangers Only before that. January 2nd, Livewire in Augusta, Georgia, featuring the Boozerweight Classic at 7:30 after the Livewire show at 5. And this Saturday night, December 12th, I'm actually part of the Talkin' Shop Mania Christmas Party live on the Talkin' Shop Mania YouTube page at 6 p.m. So join Luke Gallows, myself, and many others as we're selling some gimmicks, brother, and just having a good time and drinking. Like, that's a match made in heaven. I've hung out with Gallows before, and we actually filmed some stuff this week. I don't know if you've been following his page. So the cock torturer murdered Sex Ferguson right after Sex Ferguson found his illegitimate son. So I've been actually trying to avenge Sex Ferguson's death all week. So. Everything that Gallows and everybody in his crew does is always batshit insane. So I can't wait for Saturday night. So it's a good weekend for me. Beat Jaden Newman, hump him into submission, and then go drink with Luke Gallows and sell some merch. You know, can't beat that. Like Merry fucking Christmas, right?
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a great week. It's going to be a great week. Finish strong this weekend. We'll be excited to watch it tomorrow night, Saturday night, and everything all the way through the end of the year. And 2021 is going to be the year of Matt Sells.
And see, here we go. Speaking of cats, she had to jump up right at the last second. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Go follow us on YouTube. Go hit the follow button if you're watching on Twitch right now. Obviously, go check us out on Twitter. And don't forget to check out Action Wrestling, Synergy Wrestling. Just go check out some indie wrestling. Go support some people that are really
A lot of good
busting
shows
their
this
ass.
weekend.
And there's a lot of good shows this weekend. IWTV. Don't miss it. Check it out. It's free. Action. Promo. Go.
5 days. Make sure you go and follow Matt Sells everywhere on social media. He's on Twitter and Instagram, all Sells Final. He's on Facebook, search for Rock N Role Model. And he's got his YouTube page. Check out Matt Sex Sells. And don't forget to check out Matt Sex Sells Presents the Boozerweight Classic 2. Saturday, January 2nd, 2021. Bell times at 7:30 down in Augusta, Georgia. Visit IWTV.live today to watch these great Action Wrestling events, plus numerous other archive shows from Action and other great independent promotions. Use code ACTION for a free 5-day trial. Don't miss out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Bald Monkeys. Watch us live on our new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/The Bald Monkeys.